Good morning. It is Monday, July the 19th, and we're going to do a couple of things in this particular video today. We're going to primarily be going over last week's trades, just kind of doing a trade recap. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk generally about the market over the last week. So, one of the things that I want to spend a little bit of time on, let's just go to the SPY. Okay. So we are here in our SPY, right? And so a week ago today, we had a really nice bullish day, closed at near all-time highs. We would end up grabbing an all-time high here on Wednesday. But since Wednesday, we're down, what do you say, about 2%? And we're going to be down even further today. And so certainly we're testing this really long trend here. And so this trend has been a pretty significant downtrend. And really what we have is we have a rising wedge that has been pretty spot on over the last year. And this goes down even a little bit further than a year. If we were to go to the 3-year weekly chart, we'd see here this wedge has really existed, and we could almost extend this top wedge down a little bit really since the coronavirus pandemic low, about 50% below where we're at now. And so we have a lot of major trend lines that are below us. But as we're looking, we had a pretty bearish week, right? And we're going to start the week down right here. So we're going to get a pretty significant gap down. Now, we know that a lot of our small caps also really struggled. And as you can see here, we haven't got a small cap high since 234.53 all the way back in March, right? And so now we're going on 4 months without a new all-time high here in our small caps. And our small caps got pretty slammed here. In general, some of the securities that we're trading right now, so like thinking Workhorse, Fubu, BlackBerry, some of these really popular stocks that weren't necessarily Wish, so Context Logic, right? Some of these securities that weren't necessarily meme stocks, but are nonetheless small caps, even if they're listed on something like the NASDAQ, that they move with the small caps. And so when we see overall weakness, except for, our FANG was down. So Apple was doing really well, right? Apple, what is this? Netflix, we're seeing decent strength. Google, right? So we're seeing decent strength still in Google, and some of them even had weekly highs. But if we go back and instead of looking at the weekly, we look at the daily, right? So Netflix had a 30-point swing there, a little bit more perhaps than a 30-point swing, and it's down. Google down on the last couple of days, Facebook down, Apple down. And so we're seeing these really overbought conditions here. And some of our smaller caps are getting hit even harder, right? So when we go to some of our positions, right? So when we're looking at, let's just go through the position charts. Okay. So we move, let's go BlackBerry, right? So we are in BlackBerry and we're continuing to see bleed, and we're going to continue to see a little bit of bleed first thing this morning, right? When we look at Cat's a different bit of a trade, but we are looking at perhaps needing to roll this. And so we'll roll Caterpillar. Caterpillar has been a great, long-term trade for us. CCL. I like CCL long-term. I like the adjustment. We are way oversold here, but we're down here, right? And so, at some point this is going to turn into a turn around for us, but we're down 33%, right? So we're down right at 33% in just over a month and a half. And so we keep going down. Clove is down, right? We've got EXPR down, Fubu down, and I like Fubu long term. I think Fubu's an interesting an interesting story long term, but down. So LabD is up, and of course we've been fighting LabD literally for the last 5 months here as it just kind of churns here. We go to skills. Skills is another that generally I like long term. But, we've seen this major bleed since the middle of the month, right? So 22 to 14, we're down 33% in skills. SOSX, TLRY. TLRY is an interesting story, right? Again, really oversold. We'll see here. There's, in my opinion, right, there's not much further these can go. So I think that there's some interesting stories here. UVXY, of course, we're always trading UVXY. UVXY is up pretty significantly, up about 10% pre-market. Okay. Wish is another. I think that Wish has a long-term growth story here. And so, but we're in this general rotation, right? We're in this general rotation. And finally, we end with Workhorse. Of these that I'm trading right now and essentially doing weekly premiums on, Workhorse is the one that I'm least convinced in, and so that's just something that we're gonna have to work through. But Workhorse is nearing 50% down. We're down about 40% since the end of the month. Okay, and so when we're looking at these, how we're trading these, and this I think is important. So we go back to our monitor tab, right? So we bought our call here in EXPR and immediately resold one for this Friday. We bought back our SOSX and we resold a 7-8 call all the way out in November. So we go SOSX. It's the closest one to us. Actually looks like September just got posted. So that's a little frustrating, but that's okay. That's fine. Looks like that contract just got. We didn't want to do the August. We went out to November, which was the furthest away. But like when we go to EXPR, for example, EXPR was the at the money strike. We're only going to make $10 the rest of the way. I don't see it increasing 20%. So there is EXPR. But then we go back. We bought back our BB and our CCL, right? So we bought these back on Wednesday for our Friday expiration. So we immediately resold those. Okay. And then we bought back our BlackBerry, resold that one. Now this one's interesting because this particular security is with our long shares. And so we wanted to keep it above the break even. And so when we go to BlackBerry, right, you can see here that we have an 11.5 and an 11. This 11 is actually associated with this call, right? So this is the trade, and then this 11.5 is just above our break even there on our long shares, excuse me. Okay, so we continue to go through. Same thing with skills. We bought back skills, we resold the next day. We rolled down this put. Okay, so we rolled down this CCL put, get it further out of the money in a little bit more time. Of course, now we are even further below. So we're going to need to decide what to do with this CCL put. Sold a skills put here for 42 cents. And so our break even is what, 14.58. Let's just go to see where skills is right now. 14.58, a little bit below our break even there. We see that right there. So we'll need to decide what to do with that skills. Clove, we bought back the single, resold. Same with TLRY, we bought back both of those. We rolled this FUBU long-term little vertical here, and so it shows up as a vertical roll, and that's exactly what we did. We sold the diagonal as well, brought in significantly more credit here on this call. And then we, of course, opened, we let our Wish and our Workhorse calls expire worthless. And so we reopened those actually late in the day on Thursday. So we reopened those late on the day on Thursday. And so I knew that we weren't likely going to get challenged on this. And so I took a risk, went naked overnight there on these in Workhorse. So I was naked. This one right here, And then in Wish was naked, this one as well. And so we went naked on those, and certainly paid off as we were able to let our July 16th options expire worthless. Okay, so that's really the week that we had here. Video coming up for subscribers here in just a second as we talk about the plan for this week. Okay, if you have any questions, reach out to me at ryan@sellthatoption.com. We are doing a free 1-month subscription for any new monthly subscribers. And so if you would like a free month, go ahead and head over to the website, get signed up, and let's get to trading this crazy market. All right, have a great week, y'all.